Hey guys, welcome to Freedom Tutorials. Today in this video we are going to be looking at how to block all adult websites permanently on your Windows device, your Windows computer. I've been doing a lot of research the past few days trying to do this because there's a lot of methods out there to block these websites and whatnot, but there's always some sort of workaround or some sort of bypass, and if you're having that same problem, then you're in the right place. I'm going to try to give you a solution. Now, I will say before we get started that this is going to cost you a lot of money. It's definitely not going to be free. It's going to be about $175 total. So that's a price you're going to have to pay if you really want this. But in my opinion, to get rid of this horrible evil in your life forever, it's 100% worth it, in my opinion. This evil that we're fighting, as you know, it's not easy at all. Saint Therese of Lisieux says that in some temptations, the only solution is to escape, to not be ashamed to escape, to recognize that we are weak and we have to escape. So if you think that you can overcome this on your own by your own power, don't try it. It's not going to work. You need God's grace. You need his help. And it's best just to flee temptation, like Saint Therese of Lisieux says, who is one of my favorite saints. And before we get into this paid version of how to block all these websites, I do want to mention that there is some free solutions that I've heard of. Like one, for example, I'll leave a link to a video in the description down below of changing the DNS of your internet on your computer. So basically how that would work is you would change the DNS, and then afterwards you would block the control panel using the cold turkey blocker, which is something we'll go over later in this video. But that's not the method I've used. I don't know if it works or not. I've heard that it works for some people and it doesn't work for others. But yeah, you would have to completely block the control panel, I think, from all further use. So that's up to you if you want to look into that or not. But the method I'm going to be showing you today is paid, unfortunately. Another thing I'll say before we get started is that this is also going to put in quite a bit of restrictions on your computer. But like I said, I think it's definitely worth it to get rid of these websites out of your life. So let's do it. Okay, so the first step we're going to do is we're going to go to our settings. So we're just going to search here, search up settings, and then click enter. Then once we're in settings here, we're going to search up default apps. Click enter, and then we're going to look at what our default apps are. So now that we're in default apps, we're going to make sure that Google Chrome is installed. If you don't have Google Chrome installed, go ahead and install it. But we're just going to search for it here and then click on it. And then right at the top here, we're going to make Google Chrome your default browser. This is going to be the only browser you use from now on. So then we set it as default, and now we're good to go. There's also these other settings right here that has Microsoft Edge as the default for these different types of files. So I'm just going to go ahead and change those all to Google Chrome as well, just to be safe. Just like this. And go ahead and do that for everyone. Okay, after we finish saying everything to Google Chrome, we can X out of that. And let's go to Google Chrome. And we're going to go to this website, blockerx.net. And I'll put all the websites and things that I reference in the description below, so you can go access it from there. Alright, so it's going to bring you to this website here. And now we're going to go to products. Then this one right here, the Chrome extension. And then we're going to press get it now. And I'm actually going to transfer over to a different computer that hasn't downloaded yet so you can see what it looks like. Okay, so I'm back over here on this other device that doesn't have it yet. And I'm going to click add to Chrome. Add extension. This is a Mac device, but it shouldn't matter. It should work all the same on Windows. I'm just showing you it on the Mac for now, just to show you how it works when you're downloading it. Alright, so then it'll bring you to this website, and you can click Get Started. And then it's going to ask you a bunch of questions that you can go ahead and answer. It doesn't really matter how you answer them. So then after you finish your quiz, it's going to bring you to this page, which is the payment, which of course is not very fun. However, I'll show you a little hack. So the lifetime plan is $200. This is the one that I bought just so I have it forever. Don't have to pay yearly or anything. But there's something that's really weird about this, and I'll show you. If you go to accounts, gpedit.blockerx.net. It'll bring you to a price page, and here the lifetime plan is $130, which is really weird. I don't really know what to think of this. I don't know if this is legit. It's by the same company and whatever, so I don't know why it's a different price completely. I don't know if this is gonna change. So you can do this at your own risk. I bought the $200 one because I forgot about this until after I bought it. But yeah, this is completely up to you whether you want to buy this one or not. It should be the same, but I'm not 100% sure. Alright, so then after you do the payment, it'll bring you to some sort of screen like this, and then you can make your account, put in your email, password, whatever. But I already have an account, so I'm just going to sign in. Okay, we're back on my Windows device now, and once you finish paying for your account and making it, then it'll bring you to this page. And this page can always be accessed by just going to Google Chrome and going to your extensions tab here, and then clicking on the extension, and then you can click this settings icon. And that'll go ahead and bring you to this page. So now that we're on this page, there's a few important things we gotta deal with. So the first thing is this tab right up here, this block adult content switch. This obviously needs to be turned on at all times. If it's off, then the extension is basically off. So make sure this is on. And over here we have our preferences, and these are gonna have to be all on. So make sure you go ahead and turn all of these on. So as you're turning all of these settings on, one very important thing you're gonna notice is that in order to access these switches, you actually have to get the app. And this is like a desktop app. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do Start Setup here. And it'll bring you to this page, and then you can press download. And then it'll give you the instructions of how to download it, so I'm not going to go through it too much. And then it'll give you a verification code here, and then you'll have to put that into the app. So once you open the app, it's going to have all these same switches, but in this app. And this is where you're going to be able to turn them on. And this is going to get really annoying, because what you actually have to do is whenever you try to turn on a switch, so we're going to do block incognito mode, it requires you to restart your computer completely. So it does this for almost all the switches, but you're going to want to do it anyway. So restart your computer and turn all of them on. The most important switch that you're going to want to turn on, even though you want to do all of them, is this Enable Prevent Install. This is going to prevent you from uninstalling the extension. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. Okay, now that's turned on. If we try to turn it off, then it'll make us type in this long sentence or paragraph or whatever, and then only then it'll be able to turn off. But I'll show you guys a way later that we can prevent yourself from even doing this sentence. But for now, we're going to continue turning all of them on. This next one, I always put at normal because it's strict. It warns you that it restricts all YouTube comments and Reddit websites and whatever, and that's just not necessary. So we're just going to do normal. So now we have all of these enabled, so we're done with this screen, so we can close it. And then also on this tab in the extension, there's the essential features down here. You can do what you want with this. I would recommend putting on the safe search and then also allowing incognito. This one doesn't have to be on because we're actually going to block incognito completely. But this is another good thing to put on. Okay, so after we're done with this page, next we're going to go to strict mode. Over here in strict mode, you're going to want to make sure, usually this electric thing will be in the middle, so just slide it over or turn it on. And you should have prevent uninstall on already, but now we're going to turn on this one, penalty to disable switch. So this is going to make you pay money to be able to disable the switch and to be able to log out of your account. So I'm going to turn this on, continue. And now it locked it, and the little electric thing went back to the middle. So I'm going to select it, and then do the penalty to disable switches, continue. And now you can select the penalty amount. So the highest is 100, so that's what I'm going to do. And press continue. Boom. Here we are. And there we go, now it's done. So now, if I go to try to turn this off, then it'll make me pay $100. And obviously I don't want to do that, so I'm just going to cancel that. But if the $100 is not enough for you to deter you away, then I'll have a solution for that in a bit. And you can see if you try to sign out as well. Are you sure you want to log out? Yes. Ooh, now you need to pay $100, and I don't want to do that. So that's all we're going to be doing with the Blocker X extension. Now we're going to be downloading a new app. Now we're going to be downloading the next thing, which is on this website called gpedit.msc. And this is what's going to be able to block us from changing anything in the Blocker X app. So all you have to do is click download. And they have a free version and a pro version. But for what we're doing, unfortunately, we're going to need the pro version because we have to block the desktop app, and you can only do that with the pro version. The free version just lets you block websites. I'm going to keep switching between all my computers, so forgive me about that, but I just want to be able to show you what it looks like to download some of these things. So after you click download, it's going to be installing the desktop app. Right here, we have it downloading, just finished. So once you install it, it's going to bring you to this page where you have to install the extensions now. And since this, I'm currently on a Mac, it's asking for Safari, but usually it'll probably be Edge and Chrome. So you got to make sure to install all the extensions for all your browsers. So I'm going to click install, and then it's going to bring me to this page. It's going to give me the steps. So I'm going to install Blocker extension, then add to Chrome, add extension. And now it wants me to enable incognito permission. So it actually just opened up a tab right here to the left. And then if we scroll down, we can see this option right here, allow an incognito. And then we just have to turn that on. So once we're done with that, we can head back to the program. Right here it says both of them are installed. And then we can click close. And here we are. Also, if you're having any trouble setting this up and installing the extensions and whatnot, I'll leave a link to another video of a different guy going through that a little bit more, so you can follow along. Okay, now that you have Cold Turkey set up, you can now go to this blocks page, and this is where you're going to be able to block whatever you want. So Cold Turkey is really helpful because you can block any website you want or apps with the pro version, and then you can lock it right here. So right now I have some games blocked, just so I don't get distracted. And I have it set for about a month from now. It'll be unlocked. And I can't unlock it otherwise until that date. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Because as we saw before, I'll put a picture on the screen. We can still get past the prevent uninstall part for the Blocker X in the app. So what we need to do is we need to block the app so that we're not able to go into the app to change that. So I'm going to click here on New Block, and then I'm going to go to Apps, and then I'm going to do Add exe file. Now that you're here, I like to go to the actual app on my desktop, then right-click it, and then up at the top, Open File Location, just so I can find where it is in Files. So you can see the path right here that it is in Files. So you go to Owner, App Data, Local Programs, and this. So I'm going to go to Owner. And then for some reason, I don't know if you guys will have this problem too, but app data doesn't show up for me here, so I just search it up. And that seems to do the trick. Then Local. Then scroll down to Programs. Then this extension here. And then we just do the Blocker X Service app and select that, open it up, and now it's right here, and we can save that. And I'm going to save it as Blocker X. Save. Before we lock this block, we should change a couple of settings. So let's go to the settings, and then let's go to the block strictness. So this block strictness page is designed to make sure that you cannot bypass any of the blocks that you have set. And automatically Cold Turkey will be unable to be uninstalled if you have a locked block going on. So you can mess with some of these settings, whatever you want to do. But let's scroll down here to the bypass prevention. And then specifically do this top one, block unsupported browsers when a block is active. So basically, any other browser other than Chrome you won't be able to use. I also blocked Windows time settings, because otherwise you can just go to the date and time of the computer and change the settings to whenever the block ends, and it'll just be over with. So I have that permanently blocked. You can also block these other ones if you want, but I don't know how you would bypass cold turkey using these things, so that's completely up to you. So I just leave them off for now. But you can always turn them on later. Another nice thing about cold turkey is that if any of the extensions are removed or disabled, then it'll just completely close down your website. And you can change that option right here if you want to force close or just want it to block or whatever you want it to do. But now I'm going to go here to my Blocker X block, and I'm going to click on the unlock button. And next I'm going to go to timer. There's a bunch of different options you can do here about like when you want it to be locked or unlocked, but I just do the timer one, and I do lock this block until this right here, and you can do a bunch of different options, but I just do as long as possible, and that's going to be in like 12 or 13 years. And then this doesn't really matter, you can do whatever you want, and then you can click save. And now I'm going to turn this on, and it's going to ask me, do I want to do this? And I won't be able to change any of the block strictness settings. And it's going to be locked for 13 years once I press this. So I'll never be able to go into this app for 13 years. And then after the 13 years is up, I can just go back in here and do it for another 13 years, or however long. So let's go ahead and do that. There we are. Awesome. And like I was saying before, if the $100 is not enough to deter you, what you can do as well is you can just go to cold turkey, create a new block, and then just block this website. So how that would look is I would copy this right here, and then I would go right here, paste this, then I can add that, save as, I'm just going to do something random, and then if I turn it on, you'll see that I just completely closed my window because that website's blocked. So at this point in the video, you can probably stop watching here, because at this point you basically have no way to undo what you've already done. However, if you know anything about VPNs or anything like that, and you know how to work those things, then you may want to keep watching to prevent you from using something like that to disable the blocker. But like I said, if you have no idea how any of that works and you don't plan on figuring it out, then you can go ahead and stop right here, and this should do the job for you. So yeah, if you would like to keep watching, we're going to talk about how to block all VPNs from being downloaded and used. We won't have to spend any more money, which is nice. Let's just search up a VPN real quick. Let's look at Surfshark VPN. You could download this, and there's plenty of free VPNs. This is a paid one, but there's plenty of free ones. And you could download this as an app on your computer, or they also have them in the Chrome Web Store. And they have a bunch of free VPNs. Now, VPNs aren't guaranteed to bypass this blocker at all. I don't know which ones do and which ones don't, if any. But it's definitely a precaution you should take. So here's what we gotta do. We have to block VPN apps from being downloaded, and we have to block VPN extensions from being downloaded. So first, we're gonna start with the apps. So in order to do this, we actually have to go to our settings. And then once we're at settings, we can go to accounts. And then once we're at our account here, we'll scroll down until we reach other users right here. And then it's going to give us the option to add another user. So we're going to add an account. So you have to go ahead and make another account. So let's do that real quick. Once we're done adding that other user, we're going to click on them. And then it's going to say account options. And we're going to change the account type. And right now it should just be a standard user, but we're going to change it to an administrator. And then click OK. And if this is only your second user that you've ever made on this account, your other first account that you've been on this whole time, right here up in the top left, that is going to be an administrator as well. So we're actually going to have to make that a standard user, which we'll do in a second. So after we're done with that, we can close out of the settings. And then we can come down here to our Windows icon or just press the Windows key. and then hover over your profile, then click on it, and now we are going to press sign out. Okay, we're back over here. Since I can't use OBS, I'm using my phone for this section. So you can see right here, now in the bottom left, we have both of our accounts. So we're going to select the one we just made, and then select sign in. And now it says it's going to send a code to the email, so you can just go through these steps and then get logged in. After you're signed into your account, it's going to tell you to create a PIN. And this is a very important part. You're going to click next. And this is where you're going to need a trusted family member or a trusted friend or just someone you really trust, because this PIN is going to be very, very important. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be setting it up so every time you try to download an app that's going to make changes to your device, it's going to ask the administrator, which is going to be your friend or family member, it's going to ask them for this PIN right here. So I would tell your family member or your friend or whoever's doing it for you that whenever you're asking them to put in the PIN for you to download something, that you would tell them never to let you download like a VPN or something of that nature. Or to have them always ask you what it is you're downloading and what you're going to use it for. So then after that, it's going to say hi to you, and it's just going to do a bunch of like setting up stuff since it's your first time as the new user, but you can just go ahead and go through all this. Okay, now we're into our new user. So next, we have to go to our account settings. So let's just type in settings. Once we're at accounts, we can scroll down until we get other users. And now we're going to click on this account right here. This is your original account that you started with. You're going to click on it, change account type. And now once we're here, we're going to change the account type to a standard user. And then click OK. Now we can X out of that. So next we are going to press Windows R. And it's going to bring up this menu right here. And you're going to type in the following. gpedit.msc. And then click OK. And then it might give you this error right here. If it doesn't give you this error, that's great. But if it does give you this error, then I'll show you the solution. If you're one of the lucky ones who doesn't run into this issue, then you can skip ahead in the video to this timestamp to where we'll continue. But if you do have this issue, then this lovely guy named Tim is going to help us from Major Geeks. There's a bunch of different videos about how to fix this issue, but I just found this one and it worked for me. So here we go. So I'll be putting this YouTube link in the description down below so you can watch this video if you need help. But I'll walk you through what he says in the video as well. So in the video, he has this download link for this file you have to download. Or if you don't want to click on the link, then you can just type it in here. It's called majorgeeks.com/files/gpedit_gpedit_msc_powershell.html #Google_vignette. Or you, like I said, you could just go to the YouTube video in the description. It says download. I would just go there. Way easier than typing that out. Alright, now that we're here, we're just going to click on the download now. So that should download it for you. If it doesn't download, then you can do what they say here. But that downloaded for me. So then we can go into here. And then double click on this, open the file. And then we're going to take this and open it up, gpedit enabler. And it's going to tell us that we have to extract all the files. So just click extract all. And then just do extract. So all that did is it took the zip folder right here and just made it into a regular folder. And so now we can right click on this, gpedit. And then it's going to give you the option to run as administrator. And you want to go ahead and do that. Alright, so then that's going to pull up this right here. And basically it's just a long line of like code or something. I don't even really know. So after this thing is done running, it'll pop up with this. It'll say press any key to continue. So then you just press any key. That will close it. And now we can try to do what we were doing before. So Windows R, gpedit.msc, click enter. And here we are. This is exactly what we want. Alright, so now that you're here, it should just look like this. We're going to be going under computer configuration, and you can expand this so you can see the stuff. We're going to go to Windows settings. Then we're going to go to security settings. Then we're going to go to local policies. Then we're going to go to security options. You can just click on that. And we have a huge list here. And we're going to scroll all the way to the bottom. And we're going to go to this one right here. User account control, behavior of the elevation prompt for administrators and admin approval mode. And then we're going to double click on that. And the default should be prompt for consent for non-Windows binaries, but we're going to click on that. And we are going to do prompt for credentials on the secure desktop. So click on that, click apply, click OK, and that's it. Now you can X out of this, we're done with that. And now that we're done with that, we can come back here and we can sign back out. Okay, now that we're back on our regular account, we can try to download something like an app from the internet just to see if it'll give us the password. So I'm here on Firefox, we're going to try downloading it. So just download Firefox, but when we try to run the installer, it's going to give us the message that we can't. Now we can't do it without the PIN. So we can't allow it to make changes to the device without the PIN. So I guess I can't get it unless my trusted family or friend gives me the PIN. Okay, so now that we completed that, we can no longer download any VPNs by an app. So now we have to stop downloading VPNs by extensions. And the only way I've found how to do this is by just using cold turkey to block the Chrome Web Store entirely. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do here. I'm going to create a new block, and I'm just going to put in Chrome Web Store.google.com. Add that, save as, Chrome Web Store, save it, and I have it pulled up in the background. So I'm going to unlock this, I'm going to set a timer, and unfortunately this means we won't be able to get any more extensions on the computer, which is okay. I mean, like I was saying earlier, this is a price you have to pay. There's going to be a lot of restrictions, but in my opinion, this is 100% worth it. So what I'm going to do, though, you don't have to actually set it for as long as possible. You can do it as long as you want. So if you do want to get extensions eventually, you could set it for like a year or two. And then after that year is up, you can come back here and reset it and get any extensions that you need. But personally, I'm just going to set it for a few years. So I just saved that, and now I'm going to lock it. Lock for 3 years. And that should close it down. There we are. And that's it. That's all I got. Now, I will say there is a way that I found, and I'll put a link to this YouTube video in the description down below. There is a way that I found where instead of doing this to block the Chrome Web Store, you can just block all extensions from being downloaded or only allow certain extensions to be downloaded. And then that way it'll be controlled by your trusted family or friend with their password based on whether or not you can get an extension or not. They would have to go into this account and change everything you see in the video. But yeah, you can go take a look at that video in the description down below if that is something you're interested in. But yeah, other than that, guys, there should be no other workarounds. It should be it. This should be all you need. Now, this tutorial was just for Windows. I'm sure a lot of the same stuff would work on Apple. I think it would be slightly different in some areas, but that's something you guys can experiment with. I'm not going to make any promises because I don't really know how that works. I think with Apple Macs, though, I think with the Blocker X extension and, like, app, some of the settings are, like, pretty different. Like, I don't think you can do, like, the strict block stuff, like prevent uninstall, and just, like, things like that. I'm not sure exactly how that works. So that's something you guys can experiment with if you really want to. But otherwise, that's all I got. But yeah, next I will be doing an iOS, iPhone tutorial. So that will be on my channel right now, so you can go check out that video if you would like. I really hope this helps you. This guide helps you guys with your fight, with your struggle. Don't be discouraged. I'll be praying for everyone who watches this video. And yeah, God loves you a lot, so don't give up. Follow him, and thank you all for watching. Goodbye.